Today is about a home to Mayo, and it's a welcome. It's a part of the Global Irish Festival Series, a joint initiative between Fáilte Ireland and the Department of the Foreign Affairs. And the Mayo Marquee in the Market Square here is sponsored by Local Life Performance, and it's a support scheme funded by the Department of Tourism, Culture, Arts and the Gaeltacht, Sport and Media, and it's administered by the Mayo County Council. So with thanks to the Mayo County Council for funding and supporting Ballinas's Home to Mayo Festival. So with me here today we have Marcus from the Real Deel Brewery. Marcus I've known for a long time. How are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
Thanks for coming in and joining us.
Pleasure.
And for everybody being here. I suppose my focus today was to focus on nutrition, or my focus always is to try and focus on nutrition.
Okay.
And when I looked at the Real Deel Brewery, I mean, there's an awful lot to love, and you'll tell us a little bit about that as we go along. But what I said, well, what would I like to make a recipe from some of your products? And of course, you've got lovely beers that make a nice batter. You know, add a lovely depth of flavour to a crispy cod. Mm-hmm. You've got lovely beers for a reduction for a nice onion compote that can go with a nice sausage and mash. Yep. And all of that. But I said I'm going to work today with the spent grain, so we're going to talk a little bit about that later on.
Yeah, interesting.
But Marcus, I suppose to start us off, tell us a little bit about the Real Deel Brewery. Where did you start from? I mean, how did it start up?
It started up from I worked in the construction industry and fell off a cliff in 2009.
That's right.
And we needed to find a way of making a living locally.
Yeah.
And I'd always been a home brewer, so I went off on
You had always been a home brewer?
Yeah.
Okay.
The SkillsNet ran some really good brewing courses down in Cork, which I went on, and another brewing course over in Lancashire, north of England.
Okay.
And basically learned how to brew on a big scale.
Okay. Because you had it wasn't that you're going cold. You had a knowledge to start off with.
Yeah, but moving from plastic buckets to big stainless steel vessels.
It's a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even with that, the
flavour changes. Because I know if I make a recipe for a small recipe for a tagine or for beef stew, that's fine. But move it into then for 100 people.
Yeah,
it's a different story.
It is
when you move into volume.
Yeah, you do actually learn how to scale recipes up. You know, some things you'll need a little bit less of, some things you'll need a little bit more of. Yeah. And you just learn from experience.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And so, like, it took an awful lot of confidence and courage to do that. Yeah. Big step into the unknown, creating a new brand. Absolutely.
I mean, the first brew that we did was a product called Irish Blonde, an amber ale, and I think we did 4 brews, big brews. Yeah. Before we actually put a product out, and even then I was so nervous that I ended up getting in the car and I drove around 6 other brewers in the country, going, please just taste this and tell me what you think. Yeah, because you just
don't know, you're not sure.
Yeah,
it takes a lot to put yourself out there doing that as a start.
You don't want to put it out unless it's absolutely right.
Yeah, of course.
And just nervous, just too
nervous. And where did the names come? The Real Deel Brewery. Okay, well I know where you got that.
Deel River runs through Crossmalina.
Fair enough.
The whole family play music, reels.
Lovely.
Yeah.
But the names then for your beers.
Names for the beers. I mean, Jack the Lad, which is our main seller. It turns out that was actually put forward by the graphic designer we were using at the time, and her boyfriend at the time was called Jack, so she just
I know, but it's a great sort of like I'm doing my thing and taste it. I'm strong. I suppose that's the way it says to me, and the beer says the same thing.
Yeah.
But you've also got Finn's knowledge.
Finn's knowledge is really all to do with Ballinar.
Yeah.
the Salmon Festival, the story of Finn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Mayo Red.
Mayo Red, yeah, I mean, well, that's self-explanatory, really.
But it is a beer, but a lot of people wouldn't be aware that it is a red beer in a bottle.
Yeah.
Mayo Reds, yeah.
We actually did a special label last year, but it didn't quite work out.
No, I heard,
anyway.
Unfortunately. Well, listen, who knows? It might work out in the end.
Yeah.
But we also have, you have another one now.
General Humbert.
General Humbert. Yeah.
Which,
again, it's local and cultural.
Yeah.
And fits in with the 1798 and all that, and Killala.
Yeah. We brew it with Irish malts and French hops.
Wow.
To tell the story of...
That's amazing. Through food, through drink.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But being innovative is part of, and changing, I suppose, is part of your DNA as well. And that's coming through in the beers, through, starting up, setting up the brewery, growing as a team.
Yes.
But also, you have another one here which you bring in Dillisk into.
Yes, Mayo Red. We've a really good friend, Dennis, down in Killala, who forages the Dillisk for us, and and it just gives it an edge, a slight salty, not massively emphasised, but it makes the beer.
Makes the beer.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just say what I'm doing, because I've got the oven on. I'm going to turn it down a bit here, but I've got your a little something in the oven for you. And so what I'm doing here today is I looked at what we could use from the Real Deel Brewery. So we took the grain that Marcus uses. So it's the spent grain from the brewer, from Marcus. And for me, what's great about that is that it's fermented to a point. It's warmed. It's cooked to a point. So that means that the gluten out of it. If I was to try and break it down into a flour, into a puree, the gluten doesn't really bind. No. But still, it's got a lot of it's got all the protein. It's got all the fiber.
Yeah.
So it would be about, let's say, 35%.
But we've taken a lot of the, I suppose, carbohydrates out of it.
Yeah.
All the starch and protein that was in there.
Yeah.
We've taken that away to ferment.
Yeah. For the beer.
Yeah, for the yeast to eat.
Yeah.
So what we've left behind is, like you say, fibre and protein.
Yeah. So it's a really high fibre, high protein product. So we've been working together for a while now, I suppose, on and off.
Yeah. We've
had a lot of failures, but we're getting there. We're moving along, and Rome wasn't built in a day.
No.
So part of the process for me was then, as I was talking to Marcus, was how to make a product out of this. So we dry it, we grind it down, and we have a little bit of work to do to get it a little bit finer. We've also a little bit of work to do on how the temperature that gets to when we're doing that process. But what is working well for us is the flavour combinations. So like the Dillisk is working in the beer, today we have a smoked Dillisk and a smoked black pepper, and the theme today is plant-based. So we're still working along that theme. So we've got a little bit of hummus and a little bit of quinoa, and what we've done is we've mixed all them flavors together until they're a nice balance, and we're going to try and make a little crisp. So that's the challenge of what we're doing today.
Great.
But I suppose that is in the oven, and that's what we've done, so that's okay, that's on the roll. But Marcus, as much as the Connacht Distillery, you have paired with them as well to create products.
We've worked together with it was a brown ale by the name of Recon. Re was for Real Deel, Con was for
the Con of Distillery.
We aged a brown ale in old used whiskey casks.
And I tell you what, that was my Christmas beer. That is my Christmas beer. Well, if I haven't got it for a while, but that is my Christmas beer. That because it's a quick, it's sweet, it's strong.
Yeah.
And so happy out.
Yeah.
But also it's great to see that cooperation between businesses working in an area. Again, it's a flavour combination. It is working together, but it is a flavour combination that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that's to be commended and not and should be grown, and it's good to. I think it's very good to be. But as well as that, the products, you have 4 of them here, but for me they each have a different customer. As much as a gin customer is not a whiskey person, do you know what I mean? I actually think the beers differ in the customers as well.
Very much so.
And again today, for me, we're talking about plant-based, and we talk about the barriers. And the barriers to plant-based nutrition are that, they take time to get used to them.
Yeah.
It takes time to enjoy a dish, or to grow to know what the flavour is.
Yes.
But I think the same should be said of beers. And
No, absolutely.
that when you drink one, you're not drinking 4.
Yeah.
If you were to say what would be the difference between your beers, how would you go about that?
Wow. I suppose to categorise, we have some sort of fairly hip and trendy beers which would be described as hop forward. Jack the Lad, Irish Blonde. So the main flavour profile, you will still get malty notes.
Yeah.
But the main flavour profile is from the hops.
Yeah.
But then we would have the stout, the Mayo Red.
Yeah.
Where really it's very much the malt. Irish malt is the best malt in the world.
Yeah.
And you get some really lovely flavours.
Stays on the tongue, stays on the palate. Yeah. I'd have to agree. And for me, I think like that, there's real strong characters. I think obviously coming from yourself and your courage and starting off a business, but those strong characters of taste are coming through in the beers. And my advice to people would be to taste more than one.
No,
because
absolutely.
they should taste one that, taste and taste again till you find something that you're comfortable with. It takes a bit of time.
We haven't even scratched the surface with the breadth of beer flavours that are available. There's a beer out there for everybody.
Yeah, of course.
It's just finding it. It could be in Belgium, it could be in America. There's a beer for you somewhere.
Yeah. But I would say that to taste it from the real Deel Brewery.
Well, ideally.
And so you started brewing in 2009.
No, 2000 and
9 you started.
No, 9 years ago. So, but it was 2014. Our first beer came out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a very hard job to try and break a market that's very well, funded as regards marketing and supports. Yeah. And it's a 1-man, 2-man band.
Yeah.
How difficult is that?
Very. but it's taken time. When we first started, pretty much 80% of production was packaged up, palletised, and shipped to Dublin.
Of your production?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Now, 95% of production is sold and consumed pretty much within the boundaries of County Mayo.
That's an amazing achievement in itself. So that people have the knowledge of what your beer tastes like, and you've grown that market base. Brilliant.
Yeah. I was actually doing a late afternoon delivery to Rouse's yesterday, and there were some guys there who originate from Mayo, now live in Kildare, and but they were saying to me, whenever they're home, they always go to Rouse's to drink Jack the Lad.
Yeah. And the crack.
Yeah.
And of course. It's a good combination.
Yeah.
When I saw, I suppose, again, it's combinations. It's combinations of flavour. It's combinations of businesses working to support each other. It's getting the name out there for people around Mayo to know what products are available, and also for me, even today's conversation gets them aware of the work and the story and the people behind it.
Yeah,
it's also important, but that there's also development, and who knows where it'll be down the road. And I'm sure you've lots of other innovative ideas coming along board.
Yeah, we're working with Ennisco House just down the road from the brewery, who are growing,
organic farm.
Yeah, they have a fully organic garden, a big walled garden, which is like a micro environment.
Anybody can go out for a visit.
Yeah, fabulous. And you go buy your veggies there as well.
Yeah, I do.
And but they're growing hops for us. So we'll be putting a commercial brew out. It will probably be out mid to late October.
This year.
Yeah.
So it's growing.
Yeah, they're growing now.
Hops for you.
Yeah, we did
Brilliant.
a little test last year, and
Great.
and we'll hopefully have enough. Well, we will have enough for a commercial brew this year. Which
That's
will be,
amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah,
Oh, that's
really exciting.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, and I've a friend looking at the possibility of growing barley in Mayo, because the dream is to do
A Mayo.
to do a beer that's 100% Mayo ingredients.
Oh
It
my
would be,
goodness! So home to Mayo with the Mayo beer.
Yeah.
It's only
It'd be
going
great.
one way.
Yeah.
And you've already researched it. You've trialed it last year.
Yep.
Small batch.
Yep. Yeah.
So again, it's a confidence in cooperation between that farmer,
Yeah.
you as a business, creating a new product that you're putting yourselves on the line for
Yeah.
to sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I have to
Well,
have
it's
to be
exciting.
congratulated.
It's
I
really
think.
exciting.
Yeah.
The buzz
Yeah,
is great.
fair play.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
I think that has made my day. I have
Good.
to say, along with all the flavors and tastes and people I've talked to today. For me, I think it's a great place to end. I could talk all day about plant-based, but I think you'd be a little bit bored. That for me is a great place to end. I still have crisps in the oven. They're not ready just yet. I don't want to burn them. We're getting there. We're getting there. They're on the go. They're on the go.
Oh, so whilst we're on the subject of plant-based, all our beers are, although we don't put it on the label, and we should. Well, I need to find out legally, but they are vegan friendly. We don't use any animal-based.
Clarifiers or
Yeah, none of that.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's amazing, and that's something that I'll help you with if I can.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I can help you there. Yeah, I think, as I said, that's a great place to end. For me, it's a highlight of today to say that people are being very courageous in setting up business, in growing their story, coming back to Mayo, setting up. We've spoken to John Clark today. We spoke to Suzanne from the Connacht Distillery, and we ate and tasted smoked salmon with fennel and peas. We talked about the benefits and barriers to plant-based. We did a lentil tagine with couscous. We cooked a strawberry, honey, and Concolin gin strawberry panna cotta. And we did a creamy mushroom and barley risotto. But again, it's down to the courageous people, business around Ballina, that are giving products for people who can come home and visit Ballina to see in and around Mayo. So listen, congratulations, Marcus, and thanks for your time.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.